again, and welcome back to the Wives Club. I hope everyone had a wonderful Valentine's Day. My name is Margaret, just like you. I am a patron of Mr. Kevin Samuels, and I simply booked a session with Kevin to ask for his permission to stand up a community of like-minded and marriage-minded women within the privacy of his Patreon group. And I am so grateful. Not only did Kevin give us permission, he actually came up with the name, the Wives Club. So the Wives Club is open to any patron, whether you're currently married, formerly married, or want to be married, or you're a man who's looking for a wife, you may be able to shoot your shot here. What we usually do is we take Kevin's weekly shows to talk about our action items, our lessons learned, and this is our way of giving back. But we're going to do something a little different this week because Kevin has declared 2022 as the year where self-awareness is sexy. So on that note, I'm going to we'll let the wives introduce themselves, and then I'm going to let...
I am a eligible future wife from the Boston area and really looking forward to today's discussion.
All right, fantastic. And then Lisa, you can jump in and introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. I'm Lisa, South Florida area, and I'm happy to be back.
Okay, fantastic. So what did you have us do this week?
Okay, so we're doing something fun, right? Something a little bit different, but something that Kevin's been talking about for a long time, right? In order to be self-aware, you really need to understand what your strengths are. So today we are actually going to be sharing our top 5 strengths from the Clifton Strengthfinders program. You'll hear Kevin talk about this all the time. There's also Clifton Strengthfinders coaches, and I think Kevin works with one exclusively. But once you identify what your strengths are, it really does open up so many different areas of opportunity because you have line of sight of what works well for you and what doesn't work well for you. So I think what we can do after this conversation, and you see us go through this exercise, we can drop a link where this goes for men and women. If you want to identify what your strengths are today, you can either pick up the book, the Strengthfinders book, and with that book, you get and it comes in an audiobook form, you get the opportunity to take the Strengthfinders quiz, right? Once you take the quiz or the test, whatever they're referring to it as, you'll get out of 34 strengths, your top 5. And it's unique to you, right? There's going to be different unique pairings that are exclusive to you. It's because there's 34, there are millions of combinations, right? So this is going to be specific to who you are, what works well for you. And what we're going to do in today's discussion is each of us are going to share our strengths, and we'll talk about how that strength helps us in relationships and generally in life. And we'll also talk about what our blind spots are with having that strength. I think throughout some of our shows over the past few weeks, we've kind of sprinkled in, what it's like to have some of those strengths. But I think today is going to be really enlightening both for men and women to watch. And hopefully, more of us in this Patreon group can be more equipped to be self-aware in 2022. So really looking forward to this.
Yeah, it actually was fun. Okay, so I'm going to start and I'm going to share my screen so you guys can understand. Just like she said, you can get the Clifton Strengthfinders book. You can get it on Amazon. It's about $20. And like she said, you can either get the actual book. I opted for the audio book, which I have not listened to, full disclosure. However, you'll get 2 emails when you order this book. One will be the code that you need to redeem to take this test. So you'll get a unique code. You'll create an account and log into this website where they're going to present you with, I don't know, it seemed like about 200 questions. You need about half an hour to take this test. And the question, imagine a slider where you have like strongly disagree to strongly agree and neutral in the middle. And an example of a question would be something like, I'm energized when meeting and talking to new people, compared to I am drained when I have to spend energy around new people. And so you answer these questions on the slider and then you get a report. So I'm going to share my screen and show you guys what the report looks like. All right, so if you're able to see here, this is my report from the Clifton Strengthfinder. So once it's done, you'll get this sent to you in your email. It'll be custom for you. And of all the strengths there are, I don't know how many there totally are, but you will get a list of your top 5. And so I'm going to show you guys my top 5 strengths here, and then I'm going to go into detail. Well, we're all going to go into detail into our top 3, but you can see my top themes were communication, shocker. I love number 2. I can't stop singing the woo 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 song. We'll talk a little bit more about what the heck woo is. Positivity is number 3 for me, and then number 4, strategic, and number 5, developer. So I would love to see, if you guys would take time in the comments and let us know if you think what you know about us so far, if these strengths are spot on. So I'm going to start with my first one here. And what I've done is I just highlighted in the little report that I got what jumped out to me. And so I'm just going to quickly read through my highlights. So as a strong communicator, I do find it easy to think something and then communicate it out. It says that I'm a good conversationalist and presenter. My strength is that I do love talking to people about what's going well in their life. I do tend to energize people. I do have an ease with words. According to my strength, it's just a paragraph here. I'm a great storyteller and I'm clear when I'm telling my stories. I do like to make conversation with friends or strangers. I'm kind of that person, never met a stranger. I do tend to put people at ease, and I love that word, I delight others with my stories and my adventurous tales. Oh my goodness. Natural conversationalist, yes, casual chit chat. There is an art to small talk. I actually learned that in etiquette classes. You have to be able to strike up a conversation. But I can keep the conversation going, and I use the spoken word effectively. So that was the summary that I received. So when I read that, and I was thinking to myself, oh, that's just a gold star moment for Maggie. But what we like to do here in the Wives Club is to give back. And so when we think about our relationships, with our loved ones, with our significant others, even with our children, how can being an exceptional communicator help me? And how can it also hurt me? So I think helping is, I don't want to say a no-brainer, but it's definitely a skill that I'm naturally good at. But when we talk about working in corporate America, this is something that I've refined over, the decades that I've been in corporate America. And now I'm using that to, help build my man's, business ideas and, even what I do want to do for myself. I am a good presenter. Sometimes, I can talk to people that are more naturally shy, and I can help get their message out. I do have, an ease of talking to people. So usually it served me well. However, I was that kid that would come home with straight A's on the report card, but there was always a little comment for my parents. Margaret is so smart, but she just talks too much. I remember being young and the teacher would present to the class, and then I would turn around in my seat and tell the other students, okay, now you need to do this and you need to do that. And the teacher's like, what am I here for? So I have to rein it back. I also have to be mindful of the art of a conversation. Like Kevin has said, there's a rhythm to it. You have to allow people to get their point across. That's one of the things I love about this panel. It's not just me. So please join us if you're so interested. And I know, and I have been told that I can come across, intimidating is a strong word, but I can make certain people uncomfortable if they're not ready to talk yet. If I am, and I'm just like, ready to get into it. And sometimes, people just need time to warm up to the conversation. And so I have to allow that. And even though I know I'm great and I'm friendly, they may not know me. And even, I'll close with this one. As a parent, I have 2 boys that are very different from me. And my oldest is an extreme introvert and kind of a recluse, like a cat. So, I'm the one, good morning, I want to give hugs and kisses. And, I want to be that kind of mom. That does not work for him. He has been the type, he gets up and comes down gets a snack, watches the show. It could be 12 o'clock. And then he wants to come over and give me a gentle hug. And I've been waiting for hours, but I've had to learn that that is his communication style. He's not going to come, right out with it. So anyway, that's my top strength, and that's how it helps me, and that's how it can hurt me in a relationship.
Okay, so really excited to do this. I have my top strengths kind of make sense. I remember when I first took this and I was just like, oh my gosh, that is so me. And then one of them I didn't necessarily agree with, but after, a few years have gone by and I've started to see how I'm growing, a lot of it started to make sense. So my top strengths are futuristic, achiever, strategic, significance, and learner. I'll go to futuristic first because I swear this is me, right? One thing I can do is anticipate needs of others, but also I'm a planner to the core. I have, if I could show you guys the other side of this office, I have 2 calendars on my wall. I have a planner for school. I have a planner for work. I have a planner for life. And that's just one of those things, right? Like I literally plan out everything in 3-month increments, monthly increments, weekly increments, because that is the only way that I stay sane. But, the other core aspects that come along with being futuristic is being a visionary, right? Like making sure that you think about taking the ideas out of your head and putting them into a plan and putting them into action, right? So I get along with people that have ideation really well because they have ideas, I have ideas, but what I like to do is help people take their ideas and put it into a tangible plan to reach your goals, right? So I think that that is one of those things that definitely help. But when you're futuristic, you think about the future a lot instead of the now sometimes, right? So that's the other challenge that comes along with it. But it's just one of those things where if you kind of understand yourself a little bit more, it definitely helps. Same thing with achiever. Achiever makes me a workhorse. I have the stamina to work 12 hours a day. I go to law school part-time. And I have a job and I have about, doing more work on the side, but that's just me, right? The downside of being an achiever is if I have a to-do list in the morning and if I don't finish it, I will have a dream about what I didn't finish. Like it will really bother me that I didn't finish the things that I set out to do, right? So that's the downside of being an achiever. Strategic. It's funny, Maggie, I saw you have this on your list too. And I think Kevin actually has strategic as well. So I won't tap on it too much, but I think being strategic is awesome because it's all about strategy, right? You got to have a plan. How are you going to execute it? So I'm not going to touch strategic too much. Significance is the one I don't agree with, right? Significance means you really want what you do to stand out. You want it to be important. You want it to matter. The downside is that people kind of look at it as self-serving sometimes. And I've seen this in some of my annual reviews at work. People are like, hey, you're great at what you do. But, it's usually like people that have been around for a long time. They're just like, you literally assert with a lot of different projects, right? And sometimes you need the experience to do that. I know you want to be, front and center, but let's get you front and center the right way instead of I'm here, so that's the one that was a little bit challenging to get used to. And one of my favorites is learner. I love learning, right? And that's one of the reasons why I'm in this space. I want to learn about men, how you guys are wired, why you think the way you think. How can I adjust some of the things that I do to be better at what I do, right? Whether that's being a good wife, whether that's being a good business partner, whether that's being a good supporter of the community. I like to learn first before I act because it's almost like putting something together from IKEA. You have to read the manual first, and we all get stuck on one step with IKEA furniture, right? Just one. And you're like, God damn it, then take this apart and do it all over again. But if you read the manual first and then begin your project, it could have a different outcome. But anyway, that's my tiny discussion on the top 5.
Oh, man, my thing is, can I just pay somebody to build it? I'm horrible with building in tools. But yeah, you're absolutely right. And I will say this, and we'll toss it over to Lisa. I do see the strategic in you. I remember one of the first Zoom meetings that Kevin had, and looking forward for him to have another family meeting, where you said that this year, or maybe it was last year, you wanted to be intentional about giving back. And I remember hearing you saying that in one of the family meetings. And, that to me ties in with the work that we're doing here in the Wives Club, and then being high marked for strategic. But let's hear, Lisa, what did you think about the test and what was your top strength?
I love this test and I'm telling everybody about it. And that is probably because I am I think it has to do with my communication, which is the number one. Mine was communication. My second one was competition. My third one was activator. My fourth one was ideation. I think I'm saying that right. Some of these words are a little weird. And then my fifth one was positivity. So communication, I thought at first when I heard communication, this wasn't me because I don't feel like I have the best communication. I struggle with that sometimes. But I do remember when I was working, when I did go to work, when I was working, I don't know how to put that any differently. I don't know why I'm foggy right now, but I used to take something called Toastmasters because I wanted to get better at talking to people because that was part of my job. So I relished in taking Toastmasters early in my career, and I really enjoyed it. And I thought about that when I took this test or when I got the results. And I was like, communication is one of my good skills, my number one skill. And then I was listening to the audiobook, and it told me that I'm great at getting my story across. I'm great at storytelling. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, look at what I do here on the Wives Club. I felt strongly about this because when I started listening to Kevin, I was like, dang, I got a lot of stories and things I want to tell people about how this can relate and how you can understand. So I'm like, that's why I'm here. So that's communication for me. Love getting my story across. I love the metaphors. I love when Kevin gives us metaphors. I love anybody gives us metaphors. Even if I can use a metaphor, I love doing that. And I like to share the good news. I like to spread the gospel. I've told my two sisters I told them to take this test. I told my husband to take this test. I got my dad taking this test. I'm trying to get anybody in my life who I can to take this test. So I know they know what my strengths are, and I know what their strengths are, And then I also the weakness part. So I'm not really sure what weakness is for me as communication. I haven't got that far because I'm still doing all this, but I'm sure I have some. So I'd like to know what my strengths and weaknesses are compared to like my husband's, what makes us a good dynamic and what my relationships with other people. So I'm really excited about that. The second one, what I cannot deny, is competition. Like you play me in Monopoly, Uno. When I was in high school and college, and I ran track and I was in softball. They said competition all day. You love to win. You love to compete. You love to measure yourself against other people. That is even at work. I worked in sales at some point in my life, and when I was on the top, I was so happy to be winning and getting high sales, and I wanted to help other people, my team, to get high sales. You couldn't tell me nothing. I was just a great feeling. I just loved to be there. And when I wasn't winning, I was like, well, how can I get back to winning? So yeah, competition is all about me all day. I love to win. And another thing I said about competition, the downfall is like, I was never good at basketball, and my dad threw us in like church basketball at some point, and I hated it. And it wasn't that I wasn't good at basketball. It was just the other girls I was playing with, they had been playing for a very long time. And I knew about basketball, I knew the fundamentals, but I hadn't been playing very long. So I was like, this is not for me. And I'm not going to win, and I'm not going to do it. And my dad said, okay, you don't have to do it. Go do something else. But I'll never forget that, like they said, people who are competitive, you know what you're not good at. You're like, I'm done with it. Move me on to something else. Put me in softball, put me in track where I can win, where I can compete. Just don't have me wasting my time here. That's me all day, every day. The third one, which is so true, is activator. I'm ready to start something. If I decide I'm going to climb a mountain, I'm at that mountain the next day. I'm ready to start. I'm very impatient. So once I've made my mind up, let's do it. Once I decide, let's see, what was the best way to put it? I'm great at getting other people to start something too. So like my mother-in-law, she kind of had a fixer-upper house. And I remember when she first got her house, she wanted to redo the shower. And I was over at her house for the weekend. I'm like, she's like, I don't know. We need to do more research. And before we start the shower, I was like, let's YouTube it. I'm like, and next thing you know, we're already putting the shower together. Then the next 2 weekends later, we did a dishwasher. We YouTubed it. So, and she always like Lisa, if Lisa hadn't been at my house that summer or, around that summer, pushing us to put all this stuff in, we would have never done it, or we would have just waited. So yeah, I'm very good at getting other people started. Let's get the party started. Let's do this. And it turns into something. But the negative part about what being a activator is I'm not a finisher. I run out of steam. I get tired. It's going to take somebody else who's a finisher or whatever that skill is or strength is to get me to finish the race. Especially I'll get the race started. I'll get the party started. I'll get everything going. But if it's a long process or whatever have you, I might get tired. I might need a nap. I might need somebody else who's the finisher or ready to help me keep going to finish that. So that's a negative for me. Then it came up with ideation. I guess that's how they put it. I didn't know about this one, but to me, I like to find the connections in things. I'm always looking for connections, creative and thinking. I guess the best way to put it is I became a type 1 diabetic at age 16. By age 32, my diabetes had got so messed up that I needed to get what is called a pancreas transplant. My doctor said, your health is so much so that you need to get a pancreas transplant. So I had to do all this research. And with the ideal kind of person, a lot of people look at like a transplant. You want to do all that? So most people, they would be like, no, thank you. It's too much. But for me, as the ideal person, the way I took it is I'm like, okay, it sounds a little futuristic, but I'm not scared of it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to try it. I'm going to research it. And that's not the only thing that I've done in my life that's futuristic or ideal, however they put this word, ideation kind of thing. But if I look at my life, yes, that is me. I'm someone that will take odd concepts and run with them. And I see the possibility and the connections. So for me, that was interesting and very true. I don't really know the negative so far, but I have to look into that a little more. But for the last one for me was a positive. Being a positive person. I don't like Debbie Downers. I like to be around positive people. I like to spark more positivity in you. And if you're, the negative is that I don't want to be around negativity. I don't watch sad movies. I need a happy ending. I need you to guarantee me a happy ending or something. My husband hates this about me with movies. He's like, oh my God, does it have a happy ending? Because I don't want to watch it if it doesn't. So I need positivity around me all day, every day. And people look at me like, how can you be so positive? Because I've got so many health issues. Like right now, I'm waiting to get I've already had a pancreas transplant. I'm waiting to get a kidney transplant in the near future, hopefully. But everybody's like, oh, you got so much you have to deal with. And I'm like, I'm still here. I'm still fighting. All my hair fell out last year. I got really sick in 2020. I didn't get COVID. I had double pneumonia. And so by the time end of 2020, moving to 2021, I had a head full of hair. I love my hair. All my hair started falling out in the shower and stuff last year in March. So I had to go get all my hair cut off and I had to start over. So that's why I wear braids and stuff now. And I was a little down about it, but and my sisters, they all got this nice hair. And I'm like, oh, y'all got hair. But people are like, why are you so positive? I'm like, I'm still here. I might have had double pneumonia, they thought I had COVID, but I didn't. I came back. I had to do physical therapy, but I'm still here. I'm still fighting. I'm a fighter. That's what positive people are about. I'm still positive about it. I don't have no reason to be so, oh, look what happened to me. I do know diabetics in my past that have taken diabetes and whatever issues you have and just still deal with really bad manic depression and everything. But I'm not that kind of person. I refuse to be. I'm a fighter and I'm positive and I like to be around positive people. So this report to me was excellent. And like I said, what my thing does, I want to shout it to the rooftops. And I think this is really good. So I'm looking forward to the other people in my life and hearing how this affected them. I hope I wasn't too long-winded with that. I'm just really excited and passionate about it.
We can tell. And you know what? I definitely see the storytelling in you. And you're right about the ideation. You guys are, I'm going to share my screen again, and I'm going to pull up the report.
That's how you say it, ideation.
Ideation.
Like, oh,
it's so funny, Lisa, because I think you have two in common with Kevin. I think he has ideation and another one of yours as well. Activator.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Did he do a show or something about his list? I'd like to see what his were.
Yeah, back to like December. He mentioned it towards the end of the year. I would check out one of those, but he talked about his top 5 a few times. I think it was that show where he was talking to young men about what he would do differently. It might be that one.
Okay.
But yeah, he talked about his top 5 in that one.
Yeah, absolutely. And I remember he said that the ideation one really changed his life. You know, Kevin comes up with a lot of great ideas. So I definitely see that in you, Lisa, and the positivity for sure. All right. So my second one, this one is called Woo, which I had never heard of, but I absolutely love it. So Maggie Woo, here we go. But it says that people who are talented in Woo love the challenge of meeting new people and winning them over. Yes, that is me. I get satisfaction from breaking the ice and making a connection. This is me all day. Some of the things that stood out, I get a thrill from encouraging people. I absolutely like to do that. I like to engage in small talk. I think I'm friendly, cheerful, and ding, 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 ding. Yes, Maggie's a talker. But I'm fascinated. You know, I love getting to know people and what makes them unique. I think we're all special in our own way. So I absolutely love that. I engage newcomers in discussions. I'm very welcoming. You know, I love being a homemaker. I love hosting. I love taking care of people. I make strangers feel, you know, comfortable. I mean, you guys know I do rent out the Airbnb. And so, you know, I do welcome strangers into my home. But again, I can throw people off because I'm so, you know, welcoming. Maybe people need time to warm up to that. And this one right here, I can be unaware of how assertive I am. To me, it's just being nice, but not everybody wants that. And the key here, I have learned with time to soften, look at this, my demanding style, because tell the truth, I want people to like me and I want to tell them what to do. So, okay. So Maggie, the boss. Yeah. So the Woo has a great upside. You know, I definitely think that, you know, I can see how this is something that would be valuable, you know, to a man. You know, when we think about, you know, one day I want to be an executive wife, you know, Kevin has talked about that. Can you work a room? Can you make people feel welcome? Can you host a dinner party? Can you, you know, go to a black tie and, you know, make your man look good? These are all the things that the Woo helps me with, but I have to rein it in and read the room. I have to make sure that people, you know, are responding. I have to really have that high EQ to, you know, to understand if it's welcome, you know, or not. And I'll just say this, you know, when Kevin has had his show about what can you offer, you know, and oftentimes as women, you know, we struggle with, you know, what do you bring to the table? I would highly recommend, I know, Lisa, you're a big fan of this test. I would highly recommend this test for everybody, but specifically women. If you have struggled identifying and articulating what you bring to the table, knowing what your strengths are from this type of, how do you say, you know, a neutral place, you know, because our family be like, oh, you're really good at that, but are you really, right? So this is something that you can be aware of, and you can communicate it as a strength, and then you can see how it would be helpful in a relationship. So when you're meeting a man who's on his purpose, you can identify, oh, you know, you're really good in this area, but you're not really good on the technology side. I can be behind the scenes helping you. Or you've got a great idea, but you don't really know how to put it into words. Let me help you, you know, articulate it, if that's something that he's open to. But I think this is a great, you know, Evelyn, like you say, something to keep in our purse. And there's one thing that I remember hearing. I don't know if it was in the workout space or something I heard on YouTube about. A lot of times when we want to improve, we focus on our weaknesses and making those better. And that's going to improve a little bit. But if you want to improve a lot, it's better to start at what you're strong at and really refining what you're already naturally strong at. And that's how you can shine. So, using all of my corporate training and private school and all of that to really enhance, what I bring to the table, I think this is definitely valuable. So that was my number 2. Anything else from you?
Yeah, no, I think 2 thoughts before we close, because I love what you said there. Like, self-awareness is sexy, right? Being self-aware and embracing your strengths, right? Like, after having this conversation and just kind of hearing what the 2 of you have as well, this was important, especially from a wife perspective, futuristic wife here. I started to realize like what my strengths are. And it really looks like I'm super resourceful and I have a business mind, right? And that's really where I thrive, but I don't want to be the leader, right? So, I like being behind the scenes. And one of my most successful relationships, I was like called like Belle from, Beauty and the Beast, because I love books. Like, people would be like, oh, I'm looking for this idea. Grab the book. This is the book. Page 17, here you go, right? Like, it's one of those things where I now realize the type of relationship that would work for me, right? And that's really like, a supportive wife, even if it's on the business side. So I'm really looking forward to that. And I'm so happy that we're having this discussion. And I think that there are a lot of podcasts that just focus specifically on Strengthsfinders. So, and there's coaches out there too, like we started at the top of this discussion too. So this is really fun. And I look forward to more people just going into self-discovery, and for men too, like, cause this will even help you identify what type of wife you're looking for.
Absolutely. Self-awareness is sexy. Lisa, what about you? Anything else?
Yeah, like I said, I like to share it. I've been telling people about it. I did the Audible where you went on the Audible. I've had an Audible account in the past. I don't use it anymore. I've got the books I want and I listen to them. But because I like to find a good deal, I like to use my resources. If you don't have Audible, or if you do, go on to Audible, create a new account with a used email or, a new email or whatever. They'll let you use it for 30 days. They'll give you 1 free credit. That's all this book costs. So you get the book, they send you the email with the code, you listen, you do the tests, you take your 5 and you go listen to on the Audible book, you listen to the chapters that pertain to your strengths. And then you cut it off after 30 days or whatever, or you keep it and you go about your business. But either way, that's just my tip for those who don't want to waste the money or spend money. That's the way you can get it at no cost. Just try it out for a trial. Shout out to Audible. But other than that, I think it's a good, like Kevin said, like last, maybe a month or 2 ago, what do you bring to the table, ladies? That you're teachable and that you can learn. These are your strengths, you're teachable, and you bring your strengths to the table. So actually that's like 2 things. You're a teachable person, and these are my strengths, these are my weaknesses, and this is how I can help you. I mean, if you're on a first date, these are great things to talk about. So there you go.
That is a great tip. I'm going to pull up my last one and then we will close it out. But I will say this, that first date tip, conversation starters, absolutely. And like you said, for men to know what they're good at so that when they're picking and choosing, they know what's going to be compatible with them. I think I said in the beginning, but I'll say again, you guys, this was a great use of $20. And I'll go through my last strength, and because I'm only going to give 3 in detail, and then I'll tell you guys how you might even be able to get it for free like I did. So the last strength that I have is positivity. Shocker. Okay, sorry. I absolutely love this one. So it says, if you have a positive theme, you do have an enthusiasm that is contagious. My guy calls me, if you guys remember the Care Bears, there was one that had like like the rainbow shooting out of it. That's kind of, I've just always, if you know Maggie, that's just always how I've been, upbeat, and I can get others excited. And it really is genuine. It's just the way that I was born. I wake up, with the sun. I just am that person. So I'm attracted to hardworking and highly productive people. Absolutely. I do like to share my upbeat attitude, sometimes unsolicited. So I've had to work on that. I am fully engaged. I try to be very present. If I'm doing something, like you said, Lisa, I'm all in, or, I'm not. I do like meaningful relationships. I've shared that I'm a relationship girl. Like, I don't have a lot of dating experience. I married young, and then after the divorce, I've been in another long relationship. Um, and it fills me with happiness. I like to build on something. I don't like to to serial date. This one right here, wide awake to the wonders of life. I am fascinated with natural beauty in flowers, in nature. I'm not really artistic, but I can appreciate, someone who is. I'm going to the symphony tonight. I love just the beauty of life. I really enjoy that. Notice it says that I avoid pessimists. That's kind of hard when you've birthed one, but yes, I do. I'm naturally like repulsed by people who are kind of like doom doom doom, and when people refuse to see the goodness, or like we talked about, people who just come out of the gate and tell Kevin he's wrong all the time. Give somebody a crumb, something that is positive. I do like to point out what's working well. And I know I kind of shy away from not, I'm kind of that person that's like, let's start with the good. But I've had to work on, eventually, you're going to have to get around to what's not working so well. We talked about loving nature. And yes, spellbound, I can be captivated and emotional at times, but I am extremely supportive and intentional about that. So that was my third and final strength that I'll share. This was an amazing exercise for encouraging us to do this. I didn't know what I was signing up for, but it's really great to get that confirmation when you kind of have that sense of who you are and how you are. And other people have told you things, but to kind of see it, in black and white, it was great. I agree, Lisa, this is great conversation starter in dating. Women, this is great to find out, how you can be in support of a man and build on your own strengths. Then this is great, so you know what type of woman that you need. And then, last little tip from me. When I did this course at the end of the year last year, there was some extra money in the budget, self-development budget at work. And my boss actually told me, at the end of the year, you know what, we've got some extra funds. If there's any books that you'd be interested in reading, go ahead and order them and expense them. And I was like, you know what? I used my work account to expense it. Even if you don't have that option, it's only $20. And like Lisa said, I use the Audible version and I bought the book, so I have it for life. I can always refer back to, and you get your report for you. So highly, highly recommended. Very insightful. Thank you, Evan. Any closing thoughts?
Nope. Get out there, get the book, get the report, dive into yourself, know what works for you, and just be self-aware, because I think we are truly on the path of changing the game. So I'm really, really excited that we did this, and definitely want to give kudos to Kevin, because that's where I got the idea from.
Absolutely. And Lisa, any final thoughts from you?
I hope y'all out there listening to us, leave us some comments. Let us know what your strengths were. If you do the report, let us know what your strengths are, and tell us what you think about ours, and taking the test, and if you're going to share it, or was it helpful to you in dating, or finding people, or whatever. So I'd love to hear your responses. Thank you.
Absolutely. So yes, let us know if what we revealed about our strengths aligns with how you have experienced us. And just like Lisa said, if you take the test, let us know what your top strengths are. Or better yet, click the link in the description and pick a Saturday to join us in real time in the conversation. And we would love to host you here. But for now, thank you to Kevin for providing this space. And we'll see you guys on the next Wives Club show. Bye for now.